Hi guys, happy Mother's Day. I am finally getting to the 20 question tag that was started by Sharon at my keto journey. I also got tagged by John at IF Your Keto. So let's get into it because I figured this is going to be a long video. Alrighty, so first question. When did you make the decision to make a change in your life? Okay, it was last May, so a year ago was when I was feeling the worst ever. Felt like I was gonna die. Had to make a decision. It was either just kill myself with food or do something about it. I decided to do something about it. Did the research, started keto on June 1st. Okay. What food triggered you before keto? All foods. All foods. It didn't matter what it was. I could go all day without eating until I took the first bite of food. Once I took that first bite, then it was on for the rest of the day. It was just a giant binge. I put anything and everything in my mouth that I come across. It did not matter to me. Now, I don't want to say that I was a major sweet eater. Don't get me wrong. You're going to hand me a donut? I'm going to eat that. But my things that I couldn't stop eating was like noodles, rice, pasta, potatoes. As long as I knew there was more of that, I would keep going back until the pot was empty. You could hand me a donut, I could eat one, and if there was more in the box, give it a take. It didn't matter. But the starchy foods is what I couldn't quit eating once I started. Were you an emotional comfort binge eater before keto? Absolutely. But the emotions didn't have, like some people say, oh, I turn to food when I'm in a bad mood, or when I'm in a bad mood, I can't eat. It didn't matter to me. Good mood, bad mood, any reason to eat, I took it. So if I was sad, I ate. If I was happy, I ate, because then we needed to celebrate. It didn't matter. I ate for every emotional reason, whether it was good or bad. And definitely a binge eater. Like I said, once I started the process of chewing food, and it didn't matter what it was, then I just wanted to continue eating for the rest of the day. So I did know that about myself, so I'd try to wait as long in the day as possible before that first meal, because I knew it was going to be on for the rest of the day. So I started intermittent fasting basically before I even knew what it was. I just got a raindrop on me. No clouds above, so I don't know where it came from. Let's just hope it was a raindrop, y'all. It was a raindrop. That's what it was. What stores do you like to shop at for groceries? I go to Aldi's first, and I buy as much as I can that's on my list. And then anything that I can't get at Aldi's, I'll run over because Walmart's right across the street, and I'll get the rest of my stuff from Walmart. Do you think keto is expensive? Yes and no. I did a video on this. Keeping it simple keeps it cheap. If you are just doing meat and veg, cheese, it keeps it cheap. But when you're starting to add in the coconut flour and the heavy whipping cream and the MCT oil, which I use, but it is expensive. So when you start adding those supplemental things to make your keto journey more like the standard American food, just supplemented, then it can get expensive. But if you keep it simple, it keeps it cheap. Salad fixins and meat, chicken, steak, bacon, eggs. So it's just on how do you want to keto? How do you want to do it? You make that choice. What are some of your favorite keto foods? Ribeye steak, number one. Oh, buffalo hot wings. I don't know. It might have to be right in there, side by side with the ribeye, because it would be hard to choose between the two if I could only have one for the rest of my life. No, it wouldn't. If I could only have one for the rest of my life, it would have to be the buffalo wings. I could eat those every day. And then another one that would be coming in right up there with those is my skillet pizza. It's another one that I would not be disappointed if I had to eat it every day. Have you exercised while doing keto? Yes, but I don't know if people consider it exercise. I'm not talking like jumping jacks or sit-ups or leg lifts or those kind of things. I have walked and swam. Um, I was always a hiker in the past. I want to get back to that. I want to build my stamina back up so that I will be able to this summer do my 3-day backpacking trip. So walking, hiking is my thing. But at the same time, I'm enjoying it so much that I don't think of it as exercise. So when I'm doing that, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm out here exercising, I'm out here burning calories. It's just not the way I think of it. To me, I'm on an adventure, and what's around the next corner, and am I having a good time? So for me, yeah, I walk and I swim, but those are my passion almost. When did you start, at what weight? Okay, so I've always been a hiker. So even when I was at my heaviest, I would force myself to go. It just wouldn't be that long of a hike, but I would go someplace almost every weekend, even when I was up above 300 pounds. But when I started keto, I sort of cut it all out because everybody was saying, they don't advise exercise when you first start. And I was listening to that because, it's inflammation and all this stuff. So I sort of listened to that last year. And plus, when I started, I was so miserable that I guess I grabbed up that excuse not to do it. But in February, Diamond put out the Fit in February challenge, which I was so eager to start walking again. I had this rule that once I lost 100 pounds, that's when I was going to put it back in, put walking in. Well, I was at 90 pounds down at that point, and I was like, just go for it, start walking. And I enjoyed it. So now I just fit it in as much as I can. But again, it's not like a planned exercise. I just, whenever I have the time, I go for a walk. Okay. And at what weight? I was 90 pounds down, so I weighed 232 pounds at the time I started walking. Has your style with clothing changed since starting keto? No, I'm still wearing the exact same style that I've always worn as an adult. I was a tomboy as a kid. You couldn't get me out of t-shirt, jeans, and sneakers, work boots. Oh my goodness. Up through my mid-20s, I was very tomboyish. But once I developed a style, it's still the same way. My vests and cardigans and shrugs paired with slacks or leggings and a cami or a tank. So no, my style hasn't really changed. It's just starting to look better on me. Has keto improved your health other than weight loss? Absolutely. Miracle. It was my miracle. My blood pressure is in control. My type 2 diabetes is in control. And I say in control. I heard other people refer to it as cured. It's not cured, because if I would start to eat the carbs again, those numbers would skyrocket back up to where they were, where insulin would be back on the table, and blood pressure pills would be back on the table, and I'm not going there. So yes, it is controlled with keto. All the neuropathy in my feet is gone. Now, my legs from the knees down, because they had quite a bit of, you know what I'm talking about when I say it was like purple and discolored and a lot of brown due to lack of circulation and neuropathy. My legs feel wonderful, and they've improved a lot, but there's still a little bit of that discoloration. I don't know if that will ever fully go away or how long that takes. Now, they've improved greatly. But you can still tell that there's something was wrong with my legs from the knees down, and the edema is completely gone. Now I still have a little monthly swelling, which when I squeeze, there's still the pitting there, but it's not anywhere to the point that it was. My skin used to be so swollen from my knees down that if I poked it with anything, bumped it on anything, it would split open and be oozing and weeping. And if you've seen anybody with edema, you know what I'm talking about. It was bad. All that's better. And my toes don't hurt, tingle. There's no numb feeling. The bucket of jellyfish feeling is gone. It's amazing. No pain. My arthritis, which when I first started keto, I didn't realize that it was going to take care of the arthritis the way it did. That's completely gone. I'm not going to say I've not had any flare-ups because my arthritis uh, is stress-induced too. So if I get stressful, have a stress situation, especially in my right arm, it flares up. But other than my right arm, because I had it full body everywhere, I haven't had any other flare-ups anywhere in my body since starting keto. A couple flare-ups in my shoulder down, elbow, wrist, in my right arm. I've had a few flare-ups. How does keto make you feel? It is so hard to describe. It is something that you cannot tell anybody the feeling of euphoria that you have. That's never experienced keto. It's not something you can verbally put into words. I feel better now than I ever have in my adult life. And it's not just a mental clarity. I know people talk about that, but it's not just that. It's an overall feeling of well-being, happiness, gratitude, joy, love, contentment, just euphoria. I mean, and you're feeling that, so you want everybody else to feel it, and you want to be able to spread that around to everybody you come in contact with. When you feel somebody sad, and I say feel somebody sad because it's like when I'm next to somebody, like I can feel their emotions oozing onto me. It's weird. Like I'll know when somebody's sad just by getting close. Like I can feel my own mood drop a little bit. So when you feel that, you want to be able to spread it to them. And I try not to get over pushy with keto because my husband's like, it's like you've joined a cult. It's like some kind of religious, and you're pushing it off on people. And it's like, I know, I'm sorry, I try not to do it. But it's so hard when you want everybody to feel the way you feel. Do you feel like you had to give up anything for this lifestyle? Now, this is a hard one because, of course, we've given up a lot. When you give up carbohydrates, you're giving up half of the food pyramid that you used to eat. But at the same time, when I started, I was so sick. I didn't care if somebody had put me on tube feedings and I never got to chew again for the rest of my life. That's how I felt. So it's not like I felt a loss or I felt like I was giving anything up. And since starting keto, this is the most satisfied I've ever been with food in my life. The most satisfied. I've never had this feeling of being satisfied with eating before the feeling of full. Because I would let myself get full and still not be satisfied and still wanting to eat. Now I get satisfied, don't even feel full, and I'll stop eating. That's something that I'm not used to. I've fought an eating disorder my whole adult life. And to have this satisfaction with food, that's all I can focus on is what I can have, what I'm allowed to have, things that I was told my whole life that I couldn't have. So it's very easy to give up the starches, the grains, the sugars, and that type of stuff when you're getting such a trade-off. You're getting bacon, you're getting ribeye steak, shrimp, lobster. That was definitely a raindrop there. Shrimp, lobster. I don't mind the trade-off. If I had to say I missed anything, it's fruit. Peaches, oranges, apples, watermelon, nectarines, mangoes. So yeah, if I had to say I missed anything, that's what it would be. And once I get to goal and I up my carbs to slow the weight loss down, because I will always be keto, those are the few things that I want to enter back in, as maybe 100 grams of fruit a day. That'll lift those carbohydrates up enough that it stops the weight loss, but at the same time keeps me in ketosis, because now I'm never willing to give up this feeling. What are your goals? My goals was to get healthy and maintain that. So I really don't care about the weight loss, and I've said it before, if I don't lose another ounce, as long as I can maintain this well-being feeling, that's my goal, is to keep my numbers in check, keep that diabetes at bay, keep my blood pressure under control, keep the neuropathy out of my feet. I mean, I hate the thought of my feet going back to where I was afraid I was going to lose my legs. just that feeling of well-being. That's my goal, is to maintain feeling as wonderful as I do. Now, if I have continued weight loss with that, over the moon. But weight loss for me is just a very, very, very happy side effect from the goals that I had set for myself, which was to get healthy. And I had a doctor tell me, I'd went in for this procedure, and he had told me that my lab work, he couldn't believe my weight when he looked at my lab work, because on paper I looked like an athlete. He said, until I seen your weight, he thought, there is no way that this is right. He goes, that it's not possible that this lady has these labs and weighs, because at the time I weighed 274 pounds. He's like, there's no way. This lady is 4'11", weighs 274 pounds and has these lab work? That's not a possibility. So when he came into the room, he goes, yep. And I said, yeah, what? He goes, I didn't think it was possible. He said, but you're bigger around than you are tall. And he was blown away at my lab work as opposed to my BMI. And I told him, I said, well, it wasn't always that way. I'm on the road to good health. And he says, well, you've got there according to your labs. He said, just keep getting the weight off so you don't backtrack. He says, but you've got there. He said, looking at this lab report, he goes, you look like an athlete. I was happy. Have you gained more confidence while doing keto? No. I'm not saying that my personality hasn't changed. But more confidence, no. I have always been an overly confident, independent person. I always have been a person that thought my opinion had value, and always yelling, look at me, look at me. I've always been that type of person. Now, when I was miserable, I was very angry, pushy Sandy. Now I'm very happy, pushy Sandy. But I'm still that type of personality where I want people to hear and listen to what I have to say. I want people to value my opinion, and that's just my personality. I am very opinionated, straightforward, and I don't shy away from speaking up. That's just who I am. So no, I haven't gained any more confidence. I don't know that the world could stand me if I was more confident than what I am. I don't know how I could possibly be. That sounds so... Of course, I'm just being honest. It's just who I am. I'm so sorry. What support have you had from keto? Now, before I started my YouTube channel, my family was supportive of me getting healthy. They weren't too sure about the keto, but whatever you got to do to get healthy, we're on board with that, even if we don't understand it. So I had the support for a get healthy journey. But once I started keto, that was at the point, once I started my YouTube channel, that was at the point my family was getting tired of hearing it. You know, it's not that they don't want to offer support. They get tired of hearing about your journey every day. And I give them that. I understand that. You know, it's just like, you can see it on their faces when they're like, I just wish you would shut up about it already. But for us, that's what keeps us motivated and on point, is sharing our journey. So when I started the channel, and this community is developing and we're growing and we're so supportive of each other, this is the best support system right here on YouTube that I have ever seen in my life. I've heard about weight loss support groups and all this stuff, but nothing to this magnitude. This to me is unbelievable, the support system we have created for ourselves right here on YouTube, our little keto community. I will forever be thankful for all of you guys, and I will always consider you a major part of my life. Yeah. Wonderful support system. Does your family keto with you? Now, my husband is watching what he eats. He's not keto by any means, but he has lost. In the time that I've lost the 104 pounds, he has lost 60. And one of my boys started keto with me about 6 months into my journey. And in that amount of time, so in the last 6 months, he's lost 62 pounds. So yeah, there is one other person in my house doing keto and one not. And we make do. We make it work. It's all right. How many sizes in clothes have you gone down? So I was a size 28 when I started. I'm a 16, 18 now, depending on what it is I'm wearing. What I have on today is a 16, but what I wore yesterday was an 18 because manufacturers can't get their crap together. So, um, so 10 to 11 sizes, depending on how you look at it, or would that be 5 to 6 sizes, depending on how you look at it? Yeah, so 28 down to a 16, 18. Okay. Are you going to continue with keto once you get to goal? Absolutely. I will always be keto. Once I get to goal and I decide, I figure I'll just continue eating the way I always am eating. I think my body will level itself out at some point and just stop losing. But let's say I get down to my optimum weight for my height, 4'11", is supposed to be 93 pounds. I don't know that I could ever would get to 93 pounds or would want to get to 93 pounds. But let's say I get down to a point in time where I think, oh, I don't want to drop any lower than this, and I'm still losing, then I would up my fat a little bit and maybe introduce healthy carbs. We're talking a piece of fruit a day. That's it. You know, that's about all I'm willing to allow back in when we're looking at carbohydrates is maybe a piece of fruit a day. But that's all it would be. Other than that, my protein and fat would go up to stop that weight loss. So I will always be keto. Have you cheated on keto? No. I have never cheated on keto. And I've heard people, my sister says it and other people have said it, I'm proud of your willpower. For me, it's not about willpower, because willpower to me means you want something and you're denying yourself that item that you want. You let your willpower get you through that craving. It's not about willpower because I don't have the craving for it. The smell of baked goods and carbohydrates, bread, pastas, is off-putting to me now. It just smells like pure chemically ick. I can't even be around the smell at some points. I'll have to leave the room. And people think I'm leaving the room because I had a craving. No, I'm leaving the room because I can't believe you're putting that in your mouth and it smells nasty. So for me, I don't have to have willpower because I don't have the craving. So if I said anything got me through, I wouldn't call it willpower. I'd call it sheer fear and terror of losing this feeling that I have right now. My dad said something to me one day. He brought something to cookies. He had brought cookies down he had made for Christmas. And he's like, oh, one won't hurt you. I said, for one will hurt me. And number two, I have sheer fear of derailing myself. I can't do that to myself. So it's not willpower. It's terror of going back to how I felt last May. It's not been long enough, I guess, that it feels like those feelings of pain and uncomfortable and the shortness of breath and aching to go up and down steps. It's not been that long ago that I can't remember it like it was last week. So, yeah, I'll be never cheating on keto. Do you meal plan? I plan a menu so that way when I go shopping, I know what I'm going to get and I know what I'm going to have. Now, I do not meal prep. I don't pre-cook anything. I might cook, okay, like today we're cooking Mississippi pot roast. And I know we're going to have leftovers of that. So maybe that far in advance, I know that's what I'm going to have tomorrow. But I wouldn't prep my whole weeks because my job is too up in the air so I would be afraid I'd let in too much food to go to waste to prep. Do you track? Yes. I use MyFitnessPal and I track everything that I put in my mouth. Now, I did go for the last couple months before May, so March and April, I try to just do the intuitive eating and not track so much and see. That's not for me. It's not. I know that's a lot of people do that, and that's fine, but it's not for me. I'm a tracker girl, always have been a tracker girl. So, yeah, MyFitnessPal is my best pal, and I'll be using it. Alrighty guys, well that was the last question. I don't know how long I've been rambling on, but I'm sure we're creeping up on a half hour. So I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I hope you guys have a wonderful Mother's Day, and I will talk to you tomorrow on Monday Keto Moments. Blessings. Hi guys, I had to get back on here real quick because I forgot to do my tags. So I'm going to tag a few because I know I've missed out on some of this with working so much the last few days. So I'm afraid that I'm going to be re-tagging people that might have already been tagged. So I'm going to start with Michelle Monroe, and then Crystal, the Keto Wiggy Lady, and then I'm going to tag Heather from Wannabe Better, and Dawn from Can I Keto. Okay, ladies, you're it. Have a good time. Blessings.